My pharmacist leaned over the counter and said, "Someone's been filling prescriptions for you for 6 years." This was my first time. I had never been to this pharmacy before in my life. I moved to the city 4 months ago. I didn't even have a primary care doctor here yet. I'd driven 20 minutes out of my way specifically because my insurance had a deal with this chain. The pharmacist, a woman in her 50s with reading glasses pushed up on her head, was staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite place. Not suspicious, exactly. More like she was trying to solve something. "I'm sorry," I said. "What did you mean by that?" She turned her monitor toward me. "Your name, your date of birth, your insurance. All of it matches a patient we've had on file since 2018. Monthly prescriptions, consistent refills. The account is active." I stared at the screen. My full name, my actual birthday, my social security number, partially masked, but the last 4 digits matched. "That's not possible," I said. "I've never been here." "I know." She lowered her voice. "That's why I'm telling you, instead of just processing it. Someone has been picking up medication under your identity every single month for 6 years. My first thought was my mother. She had my social security number. She'd filled out my FAFSA when I was 17, handled my first car insurance, did my taxes until I was 23. She had everything she'd ever need to become me on paper. But my mother lived in Ohio. This pharmacy was in Portland, and we hadn't spoken in 2 years. "What medication?" I asked. The pharmacist hesitated. "It's a controlled substance. I can't share the specifics with you until we verify the situation, but I can tell you it's prescribed for a chronic pain condition." Controlled substance, chronic pain, 6 years. I felt sick. My younger brother, Danny, had been in a car accident in 2017. Shattered his collarbone, 2 fractured ribs, nerve damage in his left arm. He spent years fighting insurance companies, fighting doctors who looked at him like he was drug-seeking instead of just broken. He'd called me 18 months ago, voice tight, saying his prescription coverage had lapsed and he couldn't get it reinstated. I told him I couldn't help, that I didn't have money to loan him, which was true. What I didn't know was what he might have done instead. I gave the pharmacist my driver's license and asked her to pull the full pickup history. 23 minutes later, I was sitting in a plastic chair near the blood pressure machine, staring at a printout. Every single pickup had been made in person. Cash payments when insurance didn't cover. A signature on file. The signature looked like mine. It wasn't, but it looked like it. I called Danny. He didn't answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. I called my mom. She answered on the second ring, and I told her what the pharmacist showed me. "He asked me for your social security number 2 years ago," she said. "He said he needed it for a VA form. I gave it to him because he's your brother. Did he tell you what it was for?" She didn't answer, which was its own kind of answer. I sat in that pharmacy for another hour while Brenda filed a fraud report with their corporate compliance office. She handed me a printed list of next steps. File a police report, contact my insurance provider, place a fraud alert on my credit, like a recipe she kept copies of at the counter. "Does this happen a lot?" I asked. She looked at me over her glasses. "More than you'd think. Usually a spouse, sometimes a parent, occasionally a sibling." I drove home in silence. I was halfway through making dinner when someone knocked on my door. It was Danny. He was standing on my porch in a jacket I didn't recognize, thinner than I remembered, with this look on his face like he'd rehearsed something and already forgotten it. He didn't know I lived here. I had never given him my address after the move, which meant my mother had. She'd called him the second we hung up. "I can explain," he said. "I know you can," I said. "I don't want you to." He stepped forward anyway. "I needed the medication. I couldn't get it any other way. The system was—" "I know about the system, Danny. I heard every complaint for 3 years. Then you know why I did it? I know why you started. I don't know why you didn't stop." He didn't have an answer for that. 6 years is not desperation. 6 years is a decision you make over and over again. I told him I'd already filed the fraud report. His face went white. "You filed?" He stopped. "I'm your brother. You were me. For 6 years, you were me. You signed my name. You used my insurance. You let me move to a new city with a medical record full of controlled substances I never took, and if I'd needed emergency care and a doctor had pulled that history, I stopped myself. Get off my porch." He didn't move for a long moment. Then he said very quietly, "The prescription ran out 2 months ago. I've been doing what I can to manage without it." I knew what that meant, and I felt something for him. I did, but I also knew that the moment I let that feeling make the decision, I'd be handing him my identity all over again in a different way. I closed the door. But here's the thing I haven't told anyone yet. The next morning, before I drove to the police station to give my formal statement, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail. I picked up, and it wasn't Danny.